Today, I wanted to talk about resiliency, the definition of it, and how to develop it if you don't have it. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome back to Endure, Believe, Rise. I hope this message reaches you in good energy. I hope you and your loved ones are in good health. So let's get into it, because we have an awesome quote here today. Quote of the day: resilience, definition: the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. 2. The ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, elasticity. Song of the day: Battle Scars by Lupe Fiasco. I am often surprised, taken back, elated to see how powerful the simple definition of a word can be to me, how much it can motivate me. It comes as a shock, but it really shouldn't. When I look up definitions of word or come across them in different articles or different essays that I am reading, different classes that I'm taking, how much motivation comes from just the simple definition. And this definition is so amazing. Just the definition of with resiliency fires me up, gets me motivated. The capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulty. Think about that, because it doesn't say resiliency is the capacity to never go through difficulty. It doesn't say the definition of resiliency is the capacity to never have to recover. Resiliency is the capacity to go through something and to recover from it. To withstand something difficult, something tough, and recover from it. The second definition: the ability or a substance of object, the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, elasticity. See, that second definition is even more powerful than the first one, because if you listen to it, that means that substance or object was taken out of its comfort zone. It had to spring back into shape. It had to get its mindset back into, so it went through something that rattled it. You're going to be rattled, taken off kilter, caught by surprise. Things are going to happen to you out of the blue, and they will disrupt your mental state. They can disrupt your physical state, your emotional state. They will rattle you to your bone. But resiliency, to be resilient, means that you're able to go through these things and go back to your normal state, to withstand these things and go back to your normal state. Now, this is probably nothing new to you. If I told most people to give me a definition of resilience, it would match up to something like this. You wouldn't use these exact words. It wouldn't be in this exact order unless you know this definition by heart. But if you had to paraphrase, if you had to put it into your own words, it would come up to something like this: to be able to go through something and come out the other side. And then additionally, that's what we all want to do. We want to be that person, right? That's what we have to achieve to get to our goal, to go through obstacles and challenges, to go through difficulties that will arise while we're on our way to our destination. So this is nothing new, right? Right now, we're just establishing that we all want to be resilient. We all want resilience. We want to have resiliency in our life. That is a characteristic that we wish to achieve. Now, the question comes: how do we develop said skill? How do we make that part of our repertoire? How do we be able to become the definition of resilience? An example of resilience. how is it that we make ourselves that other people can look at us and say that is a resilient person? And I'm going to be honest with you, as I often am, it is not an easy process. And I'm going to start with the most difficult on that process, because developing a support system, that's a hard thing to do. That is a difficult thing to do, to develop a support system, because the support system has to be tested. And a lot of times, a lot of things fail those tests. And we have to replace parts of those support systems. Happened to me recently. You think certain people will be there. You think certain people will show respect. You think certain people will be able to step up, and they don't. They step away. They show disrespect. They find reasons not to fulfill their commitment and obligation to you. And that's a very narcissistic comment. But if you've followed me for a while, you know that I don't shy away from the word narcissist. I use that, and society uses that as an excuse on why you shouldn't prioritize your mental health, why you shouldn't prioritize your existence on this planet, why you shouldn't prioritize your point of view. You are important. And developing a support system is important. And if someone can't be part of your support system in an effective, kind, and nurturing way, I dare say that that person needs to be removed from your support system. A support system isn't just people. Support system is quotes. A support system is videos. A support system is a way to release stress, which is another major part of resiliency, stress relief. Now, for me, it comes in the form of comedy. I like stand-up comedy. I like rom-coms, traditional comedy movies. I like even dad jokes. A good dad joke will get me laughing for days. I like situational comedy. So comedy is a good way to release stress. Some people have their stress relief in other forms. They like massages. They like taking hot baths, like going on walks. I tell you, another part of my stress relief is the gym, working out. Working out is a beautiful stress relief. Playing with your pet or volunteering at an animal shelter. If you look up ways to relieve stress, you'll get a long list of things. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to be the one to figure out what is best for you, what makes you relax, what takes that stress away for you. Some people like to draw, create, color. Some people, make different, express different muses, right? So stress relief is a huge one. Optimism balanced with realism. This is going to be your cornerstone to resiliency, because you cannot be resilient if you're constantly negative. You cannot be resilient if you're constantly saying there's no way out. You cannot be resilient if you think that it's never going to end. But you also can't be resilient if you think that it's just going to take care of itself. You can't be resilient if you think that there's no action needed on your part. So I preach optimism, and I preach it very, very hard, but I preach it with the balance of realism. Because you will not just sit here and tell me that your plan is for you to wake up tomorrow and look in your living room and be $1 million there. Now, that's a good hope. I mean, that's a good prayer. But we're also not going to quit our jobs until we wake up and see that $1 million. Okay? Another part of resilience, or developing resilience, is having a brainstorming or strategy system. And that goes back into optimism balanced with realism. Because at the end of the day, you need to have people, things, or objects in your life where you can present a plan and they can objectively and constructively criticize that plan. Not in a negative way, like, oh, you'll never be able to do that, or that's a far fetched, but what are you going to do when this problem happens? How are you prepared for when this challenge arises? How are you going to come about when this obstacle presents itself? People that can help you see further down the road and help you prepare in ways that maybe you didn't think about. Knowing your why. Knowing your why is going to be crucial to resilience, right? Because if you don't know why you're doing something, it's hard for you to recover quickly, to withstand trials, to become elastic, to spring back into shape. It's hard for you to say, I'm going to be able to go through this if I don't know why I'm going through this. And the last one, which maybe should have been the first one, and you can really put these in different orders, right? Would be knowing who you are. That's a lifelong journey. That's a lifelong process. And maybe that's why I put it at the end, because from day to day, who you are changes. From minute to minute, sometimes from second to second. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay to change. It's okay to adapt. It's not okay to lie to yourself. You know who you are. At least you should. So don't lie to yourself and say you're something you're not. Don't lie to yourself and say that you're ready when you're not. Do the work. Do the research. Don't be scared to get your hands dirty to become who you need to be. Resiliency, it takes a lot to get there. But it's definitely worth it. We look for resilient people to lean on. We look for resilient people to model ourselves after. We look for resilient people to put in our support system. And we should be looking for resilience in ourselves. Guarantee, if you follow those steps, if you do the work, if you want to become resilient, you will be. And resiliency, well, it's just like consistency. Eventually, the drop of water always puts a hole inside of a solid rock. All right, guys, I need you to take care of yourselves. Please, be kind to one another. Keep me in your prayers. I'll forever keep you in mind. Endure, believe, rise.